what do you want to see out of Kirby Smart this year to indicate that he's building Georgia in the direction of a dynasty of their own? Now, that's an important distinction there. Many programs have won titles before. Very few programs and very few coaches have been built into true dynasties. And Alabama's one right now, and we want to know here in this question, could Georgia potentially become that? Well, you can't prove it this year, but you can certainly give an indication that you're heading in that direction. What I would look for is how hungry a team is. After they just ate, they just stuffed themselves figuratively as much as college football allows you to stuff yourself. I was there that night in Indianapolis, and we're going to talk about that night a little bit later in the show. I think it's safe to say Georgia folks had their fill. In every way imaginable, Georgia folks had their fill. January 10th it was in Indianapolis, and that program did. Long-suffering, very, very loyal folks, and so they got theirs finally. And that's the way you can afford to think if you are from Elberton, Georgia, let's say. You can afford to think that way. You certainly can't if you're Kirby Smart. And that's why I have it on pretty good authority that this spring has probably been one of the roughest that many multi-year veteran types around that program have experienced. Kirby Smart watched this happen at Alabama several years. Kirby knows about walking in those staff meetings the day after you win a title and being read the riot act and understanding that that's in the past now. Tear the rear view mirror off this vehicle. We're only looking forward. We always have to be on guard. Anytime you're ultra successful in life, college football no different. We talk about it all the time on this show. You got to be on guard for the consequences of success. The first indicator that you are suffering from one of the consequences of success is you start seeing signs of complacency. It doesn't really manifest itself on one particular metric. There is no one particular stat where you say, there it is. It's just this feeling in week 3 and week 7 and week 9 where you're watching Georgia. Maybe they're even winning games, but you're watching them and you find yourself on your couch saying, you know, they don't seem as hungry. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it just doesn't quite seem as intense as it was last year. Well, that's called complacency. Sometimes it costs you games, sometimes it doesn't. The fact of the matter is Georgia's so talented, their roster will beat you 8 or 9 Saturdays out of the year. But we've seen this before with some high-level teams that failed to become elite in any given year because of complacency. That's a consequence of success. Hunger factor. How hungry can you stay even after you just ate? And then you also have to guard against that age-old ideology seeping into your culture after you've had some success and you built on that successful foundation with a foundation of what can I do for Georgia? And then all of a sudden you win, and then you got guys, maybe some of the same ones who were part of that initial success, that all of a sudden start thinking, what can Georgia do for me? Boy, that little change in sentence structure, it sure does change a lot about the outcome on the field. For the record, I think Kirby's got the program wired the right way. I say that because I think a lot of it was borne out this past year, and we're really talking about being process-oriented instead of result-oriented. That's really what it boils down to. A result-oriented program would never have been able to get it back so quickly after the SEC title game. I don't think they would have. I don't think a result-oriented program would have been as resolved, I guess is the right word. I'm going to talk more about that, like I said, a little bit later in the show. But I think they're wired the right way. But here's the thing about it. No one is immune from this stuff. Like we've said, Saban's the best of all time. They've had teams that have suffered from this. Kirby was part of some of them. He's observed it from the inside out. Jimbo has fallen victim to this. Urban Meyer's fallen victim to this. So it's bitten pretty much everyone. No one has got the market cornered. Dabo's been bitten by it. No one's got the market cornered on how to completely eliminate this. We're about to see what Kirby Smart's best effort against it is. We have not seen him reach the mountaintop and then perform in the follow-up year. We haven't seen that yet, so we get to see it now. But hunger factor. How hungry does Georgia football seem to be in 2022? It's really hard. It is hard to do.